Hey guys, I actually took it out today. I shot it. Uh, it shot wonderful. This gun has no markings on it, no manufacturer, no serial number, nothing. And apparently that's fine. The gun store that sold it to me said that's fine. It's pre 1968, and I was told that this was a Springfield, but after searching endlessly on Google Images and looking at various pictures, I'm quite convinced that this is a Savage Model 220. And they started making these guns in 1937, and I'm not sure when they quit making them, but this would have to be between 1937 and 1968, unless there's a serial number hidden on here somewhere that I just cannot find. I'll show you guys. It's bare. Now, the little bit of writing that it has, if you see right there, proof tested for a 3-inch chamber. I believe that's all it says. Proof tested 20 gauge 3-inch chamber. Now, the disassembly on this gun, if you pull rather hard right there, that pops open. And that has its own little spring device. Yeah, I see nothing on that piece. And then when you look at the barrel, on the bottom of this barrel, I do have the marking 39. Possibly that's 1939, because this is a 28-inch barrel. It's not a 39-inch barrel, it's 28. And then I see a 5 and an I. So, you guys, if you know anything about this gun, let me know. When you go to break the action here, when you do that, it actually cocks an internal hammer, and then it'll break open. And since that other part's off, the whole barrel comes off. I can show you those markings now. There's the 39 and there's the 5 and the I, and that's it. And as far as the receiver, there's nothing hidden on here. I don't believe. I looked at it closely. I couldn't make out any other markings. Uh, Based on the images that I saw, this is an early Savage 220 based on that trigger guard. Uh, some of them actually would say Savage 220 right here, but this must be an early one because it's not. You see those slight cracks in the stock? Both sides, there's two cracks. That'll just get worse, but you guys, I might put 500 rounds through this gun in my whole life or less, if that. Also, the safety is the exact same as the Savage 220, unlike the Springfields that I saw. So, unless I'm just mistaken, this is a Savage 220. Now, I'm going to call it the Eisenhower because somebody has put Eisenhower dollars in there, and they're both 1971. And I see a D on this one and 1971 D on this one. So I guess that's possibly Delaware. I don't know my mints, but I know there's like D, Plain, Philadelphia. I know some of the old silver dollars had the New Orleans, the O for New Orleans. There were different mints, but I digress. So anyways, let me see. You guys, this was a very fun gun. You can see, oh, there's one more place where there's some marks. If you look inside that on the receiver there, uh, PP and then two marks. And I'm guessing those are proof marks when they did the casting on this receiver block. And that's all I get on this gun. So it's kind of nice to have a gun without a serial number that's fully legal. Anyways, this won't be a self-defense gun, that's for sure. That's a one-shot gun right there. If something goes wrong, you're a goner. But it was fun, you guys. I really had a good time today. Now, this is my first 20 gauge. Let me pop it back together real quick and show you the simple process. Barrel comes in. Oh, before I do that, let me show you the trigger while I'm on topic here. So the trigger's actually, you see the firing pin? There's nothing in that little hole. Uh, if you see right there, there's nothing protruding. Well, watch this. If I push the safety, there's a little S that you can kind of make out at the tip of my finger. Well, when you cock it, watch this. If the safety's off, watch when I cock it, it just pushed the safety on. So every time you open it, this thing is it's cocking an internal hammer and it's deploying the safety. Now if I push the safety off, and if you look at that little hole, I'm going to pull the trigger, and there's the firing pin. The camera went slightly out of focus, but you could see it there. Now I'm going to recock the hammer, and I'm going to take this this shell, and I'm going to set it directly on there. Push the safety off. Now watch this. Yeah, that thing hit with some authority. So, it's been working for, I don't know, 70 years or so. You're not going to get light strike with this. It doesn't look deformed or anything. I'm not worried about hurting this firing pin. So anyways, I'm going to recock it, put it back together here. This loops inside the front, and then it closes into the action. And then this little piece, it's kind of nifty the way they designed this. It comes onto the back like so, and then right here, snap. And that actually holds on there pretty strong. I mean, it's kind of nifty the way they designed that. So how did it shoot today? Here are my here's the ammo that I was shooting. Federal 20 gauge, 2 3/4 inch, 7/8 ounce shot, number 7.5, 1200 feet per second. This stuff did really well. Interesting to note that here's the 20 gauge is the yellow shell. That's what's in that box I just showed you. And on the right side here, that's a 12 gauge, just so you can get a comparison. They're both 2 3/4 inch. They're both 7.5. The red one is a Winchester, while Federal is what I just showed you, that box. And just if you were curious, look at the similarities here. With the Winchester, it's 12 gauge 2 3/4, number 7.5. You get 1 ounce a shot, doing 1290 feet per second. With a 20 gauge, you get 7/8, almost an ounce, very close at 1200 feet per second. Little less velocity, a little less shot. And you guys, that's about right. When I was out there today with these two shells, I would say the 20 gauge was 30% less recoil than the 12, and it still put out a lot of shot. I mean, when I put up a target, about a 24-inch target, 24-inch across, and I put that little bead. It have a good little sight bead on it, and I centered that right on the bullseye. And I'm sitting there, I'm thinking to myself, wherever that little bead is where your pattern's going to be. And sure enough, I completely covered the target, about a basketball size group at about 20 yards. And it just, all the shot was right there. So this would be an excellent bird gun. I mean, the recoil, like I said, about 20% less than a 12. I really like it. I think I'm going to have to get a pump sometime nowadays. Now that I've shot 20 gauge, it was nice. Now I will need to take the stock off and put some wood glue in those cracks and fix that before they get any worse. Now that I'm thinking about it, there's a screw inside that you just take the butt plate off and you can get to it. I will need to fix that and probably spray some WD-40 inside the back of this receiver and just clean everything out with like some kind of air pressure, like a pneumatic, however I can get in there. So that's just my thoughts on this gun, you guys. But hey, for $50, did I tell you that? I went to this gun store on my birthday, and I knew this was there. I'd seen it a couple months ago, and I was hoping it would still be in the shop. Anyways, I found it back on the rack, and I'm going to check out, and I'm like, hey, I'm sitting there messing with it, and I'd never had one of these before, and this is a lot of tension because you're cocking that internal hammer, which is cocked right now. and that's why it's a little bit easier. But if I dry fire it here, check that chamber. If I dry fire it, now you can see I'm fighting with it. It takes a lot of, you just heard it. It just cocked it. It recocked the internal firing pin. So the guy in the store, he saw me messing with it, and then I guess he figured the gun was a project gun or it needed some work, and he's like, "I'll do $50 on that." And I'm sitting there thinking, well, it already has $2 on the stock. So I bought it. You guys, when I was out shooting today, I put about 27 rounds through it. Not a single hiccup, no problems at all. Once you understand that internal firing pin and how it's cocking the hammer, that's it. I mean, it was a sweet shooting gun. Now, this would make a good, dove or pheasant or possibly even a duck gun, but you would only get one shot. It would train you to be a better shot, but it's not as good as something where you could pump or a side by side or over and under. But for $48, my point's made. This was an excellent gun. So you guys, if you ever see something like this, pick it up. It's a lot of fun. I have one just like this that's in 410, but I will say the 410 gauge, it's even lighter. I mean, the recoil is great. 410, it's very light. But 410 just doesn't throw the amount of shot, in my opinion, to really have, there's just better options. I'd say this 20 gauge is the sweet spot. 12 gauge is always going to be the best for defense. You're going to have the most options for shot. You're going to have probably cheapest prices. 20 gauge is just as cheap as 12 though. So, and I think 20 gauge really is kind of the sweet spot. If you're going to go out and do a lot of shooting or be competitive possibly, I don't know. 20 gauge is going to be, you could probably shoot a couple hundred rounds of 20 gauge, number 2 or number 4 buck, and you probably wouldn't feel it much the next day. While if you try to do that with 12, your shoulder's going to be sore after, 15 or 20 shots for sure. So, well, I'm sure there are some 20 gauge loads that'll make your shoulder sore. I'm not claiming to know a lot about it, but from my experience today, it was about 30% less recoil than a 12, which and the butt plate on this is hard plastic. I was feeling all of it. I'm used to shooting a 12 gauge with a nice rubber pad, uh, but this was very manageable. So you guys, if you ever see an old gun like this on the rack and you can get it for, you know, under $100, hey, yeah, I think it's worth it. I could refinish this. I'm gonna leave it just like it is. I might stain this to match the stock in time, but just thought I'd share this gun with you. This was somebody's buddy. They bubbled it out with this Eisenhower. So, well, you guys, I'm going through the book of John, and I kind of want to finish. I have two more chapters in First John. I'm going through the book of First John. So I'm in the King James, and this is a Christian channel. So I'm going to go ahead and finish with this today. I'm just going to read chapter 4 in First John, and then I'm going to conclude this video, but you guys stay tuned. Chapter 4, First John. Beloved, believe not every spirit, but try the spirits, whether they are of God, because many false prophets are gone out into the world. Hereby know ye the Spirit of God. Every spirit that confesseth that Jesus Christ is come in the flesh is of God, and every spirit that confesseth not that Jesus Christ is come in the flesh is not of God. And this is the spirit of Antichrist, wherefore ye have heard that it should come, and even now already is in the world. Ye are of God, little children, and have overcome them, because greater is he that is in you than he that is in the world. They are of the world, therefore speak they of the world, and the world heareth them. We are of God. He that knoweth God heareth us. He that is not of God heareth not us. Hereby know we the spirit of truth, and hereby the spirit of error. Beloved, let us love one another, For love is of God, and every one that loveth is born of God, and knoweth God. He that loveth not knoweth not God, for God is love. And this was manifested the love of God towards us, because that God sent his only begotten Son into the world, that we might live through him. Herein is love, not that we loved God, but that he loved us, and sent his Son to be the propitiation for our sins. Beloved, if God so loved us, we ought also to love one another. No man hath seen God at any time. If we love one another, God dwelleth in us, and his love is perfected in us. Hereby know we that we dwell in him, and he in us, because he hath given us his Spirit. And we have seen and do testify, the Father sent the Son to be the Savior of the world. Whosoever shall confess that Jesus is the Son of God, God dwelleth in him, and he in God. And we have known and believe the love that God hath to us. God is love, and he that dwelleth in love dwelleth in God, and God in him. Herein is our love made perfect, that we may have boldness in the day of judgment, because as he is, so are we in this world. Therefore there is no fear in love, but perfect love casteth out fear, because fear hath torment. He that feareth is not made perfect in love. We love him because he first loved us. If a man say, I love God, and hateth his brother, he is a liar. For he that loveth not his brother, whom he hath seen, how can he love God, whom he hath not seen? And this commandment we have from him, that he who loveth God love his brother also. So that there is the King James, 1 John chapter 4. Well, I have one more chapter in the next video, you guys, and just to let you know what that video will be about, on my birthday, which was last week, I won't give the exact, well, this past week, this is a H&R 9-shot 22, H&R 922, and this is an all-still 9-shot 22 revolver, and that has like a 6 or a 7-inch barrel on it. I've had one of these before, and I saw another for a good price. I haven't shot it yet, but I pulled the bullet and dumped the powder and just struck the primer, and it went off. So this gun will shoot, and I'm hoping that it's dead on. In my experience, these H&R 22 revolvers are outstanding. They are accurate. You can see that the cylinder, not the slide, the cylinder, the little scores where the cylinder hand and the catch, everything is very nice on this gun. The timing is perfect. It hasn't really been shot much. And when I go to a local sporting goods store today, you see a lot of 22s, but this one is double action and single action, meaning I can cock it and it fires, or I could simply pull the trigger and it does it all in one motion. I'm not going to dry fire it, but you get the point. The only thing, back when these were being manufactured, I'm guessing they were mostly 50s, 60s, sometime around there, maybe before too. I need to really look up the history on it. I haven't done it yet, but this is their method of loading. This little piece would come out, and then the whole cylinder actually comes out. You can see the 9 shots, but it's all still. So I'm going to do a complete review on this little pistol and come back with a target and show you guys a 25-yard group shooting from bench rest. And that's coming in the future. So I just wanted to tell you guys about this Savage Model 220. That's what I believe it is. 20 gauge. I believe that's a sweet spot. It's a very good, I'd have to say 20 gauge is probably my favorite shotgun caliber to shoot. 410, I just never had the confidence that I was throwing enough lead. 12 gauge is the best, but you know, that's more for defense, or I'd say deer hunting or hog or so. I mean, it's a lot of power. Uh, there's nothing wrong with bird hunting with 12 gauge at all. I think that's probably, if you're hunting like, I don't know, you're throwing more lead. if you're hunting, it's still, but if you're out just target shooting, going through ammo, this 20 gauge is nice. It a little easier on the shoulder. So I'll have to get me a 20 gauge pump in the future one day, you guys. It's on my bucket list now, like a good 870 or maybe a oh there's many I could mention, but something nice. Well, you guys have a blessed day. I hope you enjoyed this video. Please like, comment, subscribe. If you have one of these shotguns or know more about it, please let me know. And thanks a lot for watching, you guys. I do appreciate it. I'm trying to get more and more content out there, and hopefully I get better at it as I continue. So thank you.